Hello, thanks for tuning in. This is going to be the first episode of a few where I'm going to be talking about some of the problems in Archeage and some of the potential fixes that could be done to improve the situation. In this first episode, I'm going to be talking about new players, the problems that they have in playing the game now, and what could possibly be done to improve it. Before I start, a little about me. I'm Tava. I've been a very lucky player in my game time. I started playing when the game was very first released in Europe and NA. I've had the luxury and opportunities to see and do most of the content aside from the Leviathan. And I've had a lot of people that I've talked with over the years. Many of my friends and guildies have left, and I still speak to a lot of them now. And it's given me insight into a lot of things in Archeage that maybe a lot of people haven't seen or heard about. And hopefully I can bring light to this. Hopefully XL will listen to some of these concerns if they're put forward to XL, which I doubt they will, but I just feel this video is needed. So, as a bit of a disclaimer, I'm well aware that new players do stay, but I'm basically going to be talking about why a lot of them don't. One of the best examples of this is, let's go back to the beginning of Archeage, when most people stuck around, and ask yourself why they stuck around. In my opinion, that was simple. You know, when you went through the areas and levels, there was plenty of people to play with, and you really got the sense of a community. Every leveling zone, every area that you went into was full of players, full of chat, and it was great. You had people to play with. When you got to dungeons, there was tons of people to invite. When you reached the level cap, you could join in all of the events, no problems. You could participate in dungeons, hassler weapon grinding, GHA, and it was good fun. Loads of things to do and people to play with. But fast forward 3 years, all of a sudden, even though that stuff is still there, there's no point doing it. In fact, I don't think most new players, unless they read up on the game, are even aware of the hassler weapons. It's not an instinctively known thing. Same with GHA. The dungeon itself, while people might see it, or they might pick up the quest in Hell Swamp that leads you to the entrance, it's unlikely they're going to get a group to be able to do it. And that's one of the problems now. New players don't really have people to play with. You start leveling, you'll go through from 1 to 50, you'll be lucky to see anyone, unless you're in one of the main hub areas, like one of the main cities. And if you do see people, it's likely that they're not going to talk to you, or they'll just ignore you. That's even if they're on your level. When you reach 50, you're set with a huge level grind from 50 to 55. When you reach 55, you're still nothing. You've got to get your ancestral skills, your abyssal skills, and so on and so forth. Then your gear is only 2.5k. Any event you join in, you get one shot. You can't participate in any of the world events. All of the big bosses are completely locked down for you because nobody wants you, or they think you're an alt. They PK you because they think that you're a Nuian spy or a Haranian spy or a spy from the nation. And in general, new players just get shat on all the way. It's not fun for new players. Some people get lucky, some people have a lot of money as well, and they will just pay to win their way up to a decent gear score. But for the most part, you're looking at 6 to 12 months before you're going to be even remotely competitive on any decent level. So it's a huge problem. New players just don't have the opportunity to really do anything in Archeage because they can't fight. There's no way a 2, 3, 4k gear score could join in at Halsey, because every time they get engaged by anyone, they're going to be one shot. Mages, dark runners, archers, it really doesn't matter. You're just going to be one shot. And if you try to attack anyone that's over 2k gear score above you, which as a new player's not that difficult to find, well, you're not going to do any damage. You're basically going to be hitting a brick wall. So you've got to get gear. How do you get gear? Well, there's no shortcut to that in this game unless you're incredibly lucky with regrading. And this is where the problem of retaining members stems from. When you've got so many games on the market that offer so many different things, people see Archeage, it looks beautiful and fun, they test it out, and that's it. They get PK'd, they can't do anything, they can't join in, and it's at least a year before they're going to be able to get enough gear to do a lot of stuff in the game. As I say, some people get lucky and they'll find a guild, some people will have friends to play with, but that isn't the case for a lot of people. In most cases, they probably test it, try it, get bored, move on to another game. New game, lots of new players, all of a sudden, it's fun. You look at Archeage, not so much. If Archeage is going to be good for new players, there's a few changes that need to happen. First and foremost, the leveling system, completely change it. From 50 to 55 should be slightly quicker. Not a lot quicker, but a bit quicker. When you do reach 55, just have an achievement. Doesn't matter what it is, just whack an achievement in. Reach 55, congratulations. Here's a set of Soulforged gear. And I don't mean that shitty Soulforged set and gems and everything else that you've got to do yourself, because most people fuck up and they'll stick all of the defense gems that you get, and my character is now away somehow. You'll stick all of the defense gems in the chest and legs, and anyone that's been playing long enough knows that that's just a stupid thing to do. If you're going to be gemming your gear with the Soulforged stuff, you should always stick one normal gem in each slot, and maybe a few of the PvP gems in the chest and legs, followed by the defense gems to fill out the remaining slots. New players do not know how to gem their gear properly, and as such, when you have that set of Soulforged gear, have it pre-gemmed for a new player. Don't just give the gems and everything else and be lazy. Make sure the set of gear that comes out of the Soulforged stuff is gemmed and enchanted and ready to go. You know, about the same level as what you would get. This means every time that you get a 55 character, he's instantly going to be about 4k gear score. That'll cut off a huge amount of the game, which is just absolutely terrible for most players, where they can't do anything. Even Soulforged isn't that great, but at least it helps. It's a step forwards. Secondly, there needs to be something for new players to do other than being cannon fodder for what is basically the top 1% of the server. As people have been stating on the forums, the new event in Diamond Shores is a breeding ground of people that are just sitting there looking for anyone that they can just kill easily. Dark runners, archers, whatever it may be. The second you come out of a safe zone, bang, ba bang, you're dead. And that's it. New players don't want that experience. So give them something to do that lessens the amount of time that they're going to spend in these areas. Bring out new dungeons, bring out new raids, new systems to acquire gear to catch up. I don't mean a system where all of a sudden everyone's 9k gear score in a week, but there's got to be something. It could be, I mean, all of the systems are in the game right now. You have the little vending machines in Mirage Isle, you've got the token drops, and you've got Miss-Song multiple difficulty raids, or dungeons. It wouldn't be hard for you to stick a dungeon in that has token rewards for bosses, and then a machine where you can spend those tokens to buy gear. And you could stick anything you want in there, it doesn't matter. It could be, you know, equivalent to tier 4, equivalent to tier 5, it could be gems, mounts, gliders, whatever you need. Just something to give people a way of progressing faster than what we have now. And there's always going to be the top players complaining, oh, well, I've spent 3 years getting my gear. Yeah, so have I. You know, I've been in the top 20 in Europe. I just want people to play with. As far as I'm concerned, the game and its survival is more important than my dick being bigger than everyone else's. And I wish more people had that same mentality. There are too many people that will rant and rage when any update is announced that potentially, you know, reduces their advantage over the majority of players. This should never be the main focus of a games company. And when every update brings out new bosses and gear for the top people, but doesn't give anything for the new players to at least get up to a couple of ranks under that gear at a decent rate, the gear gap continually grows. And this problem is going to be around for a very long time. It's got to be fixed. New players are the lifeblood of a game. Old players will find something new once they've done all they want to do and they get bored. New players are what keeps the game alive. If you don't care about new players, nobody's going to hang around, and you're going to end up with a game that essentially has no new players, just a few elitists running around trying to kill each other. How long are we going to go until we're down to one server in Europe and one server on NA? And that's it, you know, with just one guild on each server, doing all the world bosses, getting all the gold, and working towards full eternal. We need new players. And right now, with so many games on the market, if XL doesn't make additions to Archeage soon to allow the players that do start, they're going to go and start somewhere else. And that game will have players that they can play with. That game will have a system where you can be competitive within 12 months of playing the game. That game will have a system where you can gear up without needing to run 20 accounts with freighters all day, every day, just to get on the same level as somebody else that's been playing for 3 years. I do hope that these changes come. I do hope that new players will start to hang around more if they do come. XL, you've been making some good changes with the regrading, gems, honor systems. Now, start making some changes to the dungeons, raids, and bosses. Let everybody participate. Focus on the 99% of the bottom players, not the top 1%. And I guarantee more people will be hanging around. They'll have more things to do every day, more people to play with. Make Archeage great again. And I'll see you in the next video.